Dear Philip, very nice to see you again. Welcome.
Thank you.
How does your solo exhibition fare at the Blender Gallery in Athens, in Glyfada?
I made an exhibition in London, so some of the works came from New York, some of the works came from London, and some of the works the Blender Gallery had. So now this is like a little retrospective of the portraits, the dot portraits, the new work.
Please tell me about that, about these portraits.
Okay.
The dot portraits.
We just produced a book called The Super Dot. What it is I realized looking through my work over, let's say, 30 years, that I use the dot quite a lot in all kinds of things, as a kind of separation, as what they say in painting, punctuating the space. And so we decided to do not just something on the recent work, but something that combined all of these 30 years of works related to the dots. At a certain point, first I started as a photographer. So as a photographer, you know, you take portraits as the first thing. That's what you do initially. And I did a lot of portrait work when I was an early photographer many years ago. So now I've come back to the portrait using modern technology, algorithms even, and hand-painted tiny little dots that make up the complexion, let's say, of a portrait.
You have said that you are a modern Greek. What do you mean?
Oh, I'm a modern Greek in the sense that the Greeks, let's call us the Greeks of the diaspora, because now there may be 1 million plus in America, Greeks, live in a kind of a split world where they grow up with a cultural identity from their families, which is very Greek, and then they are born into a super American culture, which is completely the opposite of the, let's say, European Greek, or European even in general. I think, you know, Americans are very different, I think, from Europeans.
Really?
In a lot of ways, yes.
More open-minded, maybe?
More open-minded, more ambitious. The United States is quite money-oriented, too. There's less poetry, let's say, in an American mentality than there is, I think, in a European mentality. And what is a modern Greek? A modern Greek remembers his heritage, appreciates it, and uses it in a modern contextual language. In other words, you can never leave behind being Greek. Why should you? You know, it's one of the greatest cultures of all time. So therefore, and for some reason, everything I do always have something Greek inside.
There is a pop art aesthetic to your super dot portraits, and I wonder if ÁndyWarhol, of course, was an influence on your work.
Yes, ÁndyWarhol.
Did you meet him?
I met him many times in New York. He wanted me to come and work in the, they called it the factory.
Yeah. What are the influences in your work? It's modernist pop art, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, the pop, if you look at the portraits, they are definitely, they're not necessarily inspired by Warhol, but they are affected by him.
I have read that you worked and exhibited with Μπασκιά. Is it true?
I did. I've been in plenty of shows with Μπασκιά, but I knew him quite well because he's really was from my generation. One of those.
What a talented guy.
Very talented guy. But when I knew him, nobody really knew him well.
Yeah. So
we even made some exhibitions in some clubs, because in those days the clubs in the 80s, you know, were very, very hot.
54.
The Studio 54 we didn't do, but we did a lot of other places. Zan Mισέλ was an interesting person, a little bit arrogant, very talented.
Really?
Yeah, he was a little arrogant. He did not come from a, he came from a middle-class family. His father was an accountant, you know, he wasn't a street, he's a street artist, but he wasn't a street background, you know, he was a middle-class, upper middle class. We're going to make an exhibition also in Monaco. Well, first of all, the event is November 12th, if anybody out there is listening. November 12th. It is the week of the independence of Monaco. And I just written Albert, and I asked him if he would unveil the painting that I did for charity in Monaco. And the painting is his mother, Grace Kelly.
Wow, it's going to be a great event.
And then I will do an exhibition also in Monaco concurrently with that.
To wish you the best for your solo exhibition.
Thank you.
At the Blender Gallery in Glyfada in Athens. And have a nice summer.
I'm planning to.
Yes, and then you have Monaco, London, Monaco.
I have also Venice.
Venice.
I have an exhibition in Venice in February with an important gallery called Victoria Miro. She's one of the biggest, maybe the most important English dealer. I'm going to do a show with her. I'm going to do a show with Vavara Rozos in October. And then I'm going to do another show in March.
Very nice to see you again. All the best.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you, and thank you for the interview.